I hope everybody's doing good. And before we go any further, I sure want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving coming up. And with that, let me start by saying this, that from time to time, and it's just the way it is. I mean, I'm always somebody that's really hung up on the truth, but the truth is just this: from time to time, we at least here in with our, in Kanawha County, let's say, from time to time, we report things, and maybe we put a little bit too much of a negative slant on things. And I'm hoping so much that today, with the information that we have, and with Steve Roberts, our head of our chamber here, and because Steve came to me, and said, do you realize just what's happened in West Virginia and all the good things that are going on? And we had a lot of discussions, and I want you to hear from Steve, but we do have good things going on. We've got incredible things going on. If you just think about last year in 2019, we produced a surplus that was equivalent to 1.5 times greater than what we did in a decade. The reason that I am hopeful that we begin to report the truth, really what's really happening, instead of the local soundbite, the reason I am hopeful that we do that is just this, is we try every day to get more and more and more folks to come to West Virginia. You have a profound impact on that, but every day we're trying to entice more and more and more to come. We need to hear the truth. We need to hear what we're doing, so I'm really hopeful today that we'll do that. But, the background is just simply just this. In the last year, we've added 19,000 jobs in West Virginia. We now have a total employment of 763,000 in West Virginia. It's the highest employment rate, the highest employment since January of 2009. It's and the gains are diversified across all kinds of different things, whether it be, everything from high tech to tourism and on and on and on. We really genuinely decided to invest dollars, in order to bring things and make things happen within West Virginia. And they have happened. And so, I don't know that I can, you know me well enough to know that I get myself in a lot of trouble by telling you things that maybe I shouldn't even tell you. But let me tell you how close we monitor the numbers of our budget. I was just told, and we do this every day, every single day. If we were to close out November right now, we would come in with a $1 million surplus in November. Now it doesn't sound like much, but November's a short month, but the thing that is amazing is how the expertise of the people that are putting together the budget numbers. When you're looking at $300 or $400 million in a month, and you're looking at numbers like that, and you can be within $1 million or within $3 million, and that's factoring in growth that we put into the budget this year. And so it's great news. It's great news. We talked about the idea of the possibility of having to do $100 million of budget cuts and everything. And the reason you haven't done that is because we're still not sure that we have to do it, And so now, when put that out there, everybody's running with the bulls, saying, oh my God, the sky's falling, everything, everybody's running and saying, well, what about all these budget cuts? You scare people. You just scare people. You know, we may very well end up having to do budget cuts because that is the prudent and right thing to do. But you see, you hired me to watch the store. That's what you hired me to do, you know. And when we got bad numbers in July and a little bit of bad numbers in August, I got in motion. That's what I'm supposed to do, you know. And so we got all the cabinet secretaries and we said, look at any and everything we can do that's not going to cut anything to the bone or do anything. But look what we can do from a proactive standpoint. That's what I do. You know, what we did with that is we ran out into the wilderness and we started saying, oh my God, the sky's falling. We're going to have to cut. Hopefully we're not going to have to cut anything, you know, and, but we still want to continue to do the prudent and right things. Now, why has all this goodness happened? You know, well, it's happened because of lots of things. You know, it's happened because we have less regulations, we've got lower taxes, you know, we've got a significant cut in our corporate income tax from 9 to 6.5. We've passed the right to work laws, we've got legal reform, we've got a more conservative court. We have got the eye of the president, the ear of the president, you know. You have got so many creative things that are happening right here in West Virginia, and like it or not like it, and I don't want to sound braggadocious at all, but you've got a leader of the band. It's not a politician. It's a business guy that's really genuinely out there slugging for us every single moment of every day. It's working. It's working. We ought to be celebrating it and running up and down the streets. It's working. You know, we've got, you know, you may say, well, what does West Virginia have to offer when we start soliciting businesses? Well, the first thing that I think you got to do is you got to go back to education. You know, we put a stake in the sand that said, you know, we're going to make education our centerpiece. And it changed our perspective or our image in lots and lots of ways. Now, if you go back and you really think about it, and you think about these 4 incredible seasons, how close you are to 2/3 of the population of the country, unbelievable people that are here, and unbelievable natural resources, and you just think about that, it's amazing. It's amazing what a ball team you have if you just had one thing. You know, you got great work from the standpoint of our legislature, from the Senate, from the House. You've got great work, you know, from our Senate President and our Speaker of the House. You've got great work from a lot of different people, but you needed one thing, and that is a leader of the band that's done a lot of stuff. That's done a lot of stuff, and could get the pieces of the puzzle all put together that could put them out there, that could make something happen. Who would have thunk it that somebody would have come up and said, we can do a road bond. We can do a road bond, and absolutely we can do it for $3 billion. And nobody would have even tried it at $500 million, but we did it. Now, and we're getting ready to go back out again. Last go around, we came out with about $100 million premium, and we're getting ready to do the same thing again. So with all that, you know, you've got, the other thing I'd like to touch on in my notes say here is this Jobs and Hope deal. You know, you've got free community college, thanks to Brother Mitch. You've got this Jobs and Hope thing, which was Jim's dream, and I say this all over and over, but you can't call it Jim's dream because it's some political gobbledygook, you know, and you can't put my name on it. It's the craziest junk I've ever seen, but nevertheless, now it's called Jobs and Hope. But with that, you know, I think now we've got like 650 some applicants, you know, that are working in that process right now in a month. this has got real arms and legs. And the addition of the transition agents to helping these people. I was at Camp Dawson the other day, guys, and this is all there's to it. There's six people there. They had just finished with the National Guard's help and everything, and they've been trained on running a grader. It doesn't sound like much, but a grader operator job today will probably pay close to $30 an hour. And those people are absolutely trained. They have a certificate and everything else. And 2 out of the 6 of them have now received 2 job offers, one of them a supervisory offer. And before they can just even get out the door to finishing their certification. Now, all 6 of those people had a terrible drug issue. All 6 of those people are trained. All 6 of those people are on their way. One of them is a woman. This construction stuff now is just not a man's world. Everything we have is a woman's world, as well, and it should be. So they're just good things happening. And the other thing I want to tell you that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going around to different places, to where companies that are starting up or companies that have increased employment, whether it be, Toyota or Procter & Gamble or Intuit or, just there's so many. But I'm going to be going there and everything because we should be, not only do we thank them on the phone, and all the stuff we go through and everything, but we should be honestly encouraging, showing our appreciation in every way. So I'm going to be going and doing some of that too. My last little thing is just this, last year we had something happen in West Virginia unbelievable, the #1 in the nation in GDP growth, the #1 in the nation in personal income growth. It was unbelievable, and I think I spoke properly about GDP, there's some things that are second and whatever, and all kinds of runs together, but we've done really, really well in some things. And for West Virginia to do well in a thing is a real start, but when you have an S with it, it's really good. The other flip side of it, let me end by just saying this, and then I'm going to turn it over to Steve a second, but the other thing is, it is amazing what Chelsea has done in tourism. I am really involved with Chelsea all the time. My specialization, in my MBA was marketing advertising. I really have a feel for that and everything. And so and I really, really know just what a tourism job's all about, and investment in tourism brings us back instantaneous revenue. And what we're doing there, my gosh, the numbers are just incredible. They're beyond incredible. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Steve, and Steve, you can have at it some.
Governor, Justice, Senator Carmichael, members of the media who are here, thank you for taking a few minutes to give us some of your time and attention to a subject that I think is very near and dear and needs to remain very important to all of us. I'd like to recognize in the back of the room Brian Dayton, who's with the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, and Kathy and Sarah Thomas, who are also with the Chamber. And they know that we spend a lot of time simply looking at how West Virginia is doing, tracking our progress. When progress has not been so strong, we've raised concerns. But what we have seen as we have been tracking progress in 2019 is that West Virginia really has some astounding numbers, and we should focus on those and pay some attention to them. We think the week of Thanksgiving, Governor, is a good time to stop and give thanks for the blessings that we have in this wonderful state, surrounded by this wonderful nation. And among the things that we can be thankful for are the creation of many new jobs. We think these new jobs are the result of a strong national economy and very good policies in West Virginia that have encouraged job creation and additional investment in our state. Data from Workforce West Virginia, which uses federal data, shows that October of 2019 saw a really significant milestone in West Virginia's jobs recovery. For the first time since March of 2013, our total West Virginia labor force exceeded 800,000 people. Total employment, as the posters points out, total employment in October of 2019 came in at 763,000 jobs. This number represents a significant uptick in employment and is the largest October since October of 2008. We are on track for the best year. Let me say 2019 to be specific, is on track for the best year since '08, and we could end the year with average annual employment in the range of 760,000 jobs. If this jobs trend continues, we could be at an all-time jobs high by late next year. I think there are some big picture takeaways from this data. One of the takeaways that we learned simply from looking at the data is that the Eastern Panhandle and Northern tier of counties are doing very well. Counties, interestingly, counties with our largest universities and that are the centers of higher education are doing very well. This jobs news is particularly significant, I think, because it comes in the face of some significant headwinds. Those headwinds include that we've had drops from '08. We've had drops in our levels of employment from coal mining, from manufacturing, and from retail jobs. We've had our biggest gains, and the governor pointed to this just a moment ago. We've had our biggest gains in travel and tourism and leisure and hospitality. We've had our biggest gains in healthcare, and we've had our biggest gains in business and professional services, although I'm quick to point out that there have been gains across a broad cross-section of employment sectors. There have been 20 employment sectors in which we have seen gains in employment. We also have the highest level of goods producing jobs since '08. We think that in this week in particular is a good time to stop and give thanks for where we are, to recognize the great progress that's been made, to thank our legislative leaders who have done a heavy lift in terms of reducing taxes and making business feel more welcome in West Virginia. Business is responding by investing and creating jobs. We thank our governor for Jobs and Hope. We thank our governor and legislative leaders for Senate Bill 1, which we think is very, very much a door opener for those in West Virginia those students in West Virginia who are looking for last dollar funding for community and technical college education. I happen to feel very strongly and passionately about that. My children have many friends in West Virginia who really had to struggle to figure out what they were going to do post-high school, and I believe Senate Bill significantly opens doors for young people in our state, particularly those who need doors opened for them. I would also add my thanks to representatives of higher education and community and technical colleges who I think are working together to look for the best ways to diversify our economy. The best sources that I can find indicate that in West Virginia, we have approximately, and the number seems to range from between 15 to 20,000 unfilled jobs. So we have a couple of messages that I will conclude with. I picked up when the governor said, I'm going to give Steve a second here, so I'm not going to overstay my welcome at the podium. But I think we have a couple of significant opportunities. One is that we have people in West Virginia who are unemployed, who may not have the skills or who may live in the wrong place, or who may not have transportation to get to work. And those are things that a team, such as the team of people in this room, can work together on to help figure out. We also, as the governor pointed out, we want to get the word out that if you're out of state and you have skills, come here. We need you. I spoke with a military leader in Washington last week, and we left each other with a handshake that he would do his best to help get the word out to people who are leaving the military, who have skills, who culturally would like to live in West Virginia, who would find West Virginia a very good fit for their lives, that we have jobs for those people, perhaps as many as 15,000 to 20,000 jobs for skilled workers who could be coming to West Virginia. I'm optimistic about where we're going. I'm grateful for the work, the heavy lift that has really gone into making these statistics happen. I believe they did not happen by accident. I believe they happened because in West Virginia, we have been preparing ourselves so that when the national economy moved forward, we could move forward with it and not be left behind. And I believe we have plenty of opportunity for the future. So, Governor Justice, thank you very much. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate where we are. Senator Carmichael, thank you very much. Cabinet secretaries, thank you very, very much. I think we see a team of people working together, listening to the needs of employers, and responding appropriately to help create a climate that allows West Virginia to create jobs. And we now are knocking on what might be record employment in our state. With that, I'll conclude. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you. Well, let me go back to one thing. You know, and y'all get so tired of me saying, you know, you're not much of a frog if you're not proud of your own pond. And I can tell you this, that we want so much for the world to hear the greatness that's going on in West Virginia. Or at least have a fair hearing of what's going on in West Virginia, because it helps us. I mean, it helps every last one of us. And so, I mean, you know, just the other day, and I've got to just touch on this just a second, but, you know, just the other day, you know, we're in discussions with the commissioner of Major League Baseball, you know, in order to be able to save our ball teams here in the state. Well, I mean, it's really important that you got a leader of the band that's, you know, having those discussions directly with the head guy. You know, the head guy, in order to be able to make things happen and help us to where we don't lose something that's an economic driver and it's something that our people really enjoy and on and on and on. You know, but in addition to that, I mean, just think, whether it be Major League Baseball, it was, you know, it was Virgin Hyperloop 1. I mean, can you imagine, you know, that they're even halfway considering West Virginia. West Virginia may have a real shot there, but we run everything to ground. We try every single thing we possibly can. And as they hear the news and everything, and the news is positive and everything, that's what they want. You see, that deal with the Hyperloop deal is the beatingest thing I've ever seen. You know, it's an 11-foot tube. You get into a pod, and if everything works, it's going to take you at 670 miles an hour, you know, through that tube, just wherever you're going. I mean, you know, and the reason they're interested in West Virginia is lots of different things. The incredible, you know, incredible work that the universities have done over the years and their history behind all that. But just think, what they're wanting to test is how that is going to work from a place to D.C. And through the terrain, you know, they want to test over a variation of terrain. You know, so you know, there's just lots and lots of possibilities that are right at our fingertips, whether they be the petrochemical industry. Steve didn't mention this, but for once, manufacturing jobs are increasing in West Virginia. For once, I mean, manufacturing jobs are increasing. So there's so much that are, that's right at our fingertips. We finally dug ourselves out of this unbelievable hole, and we finally put that stake in the sand on education and our veterans and our elderly, and we are doing. And the other flip side of it is, just think about this. We just went through all the bond rating stuff that I was telling you about and everything. Dave and his team, Mark and everybody's done an incredible job there. They had me on the phone with them in the beginning. I led the thing off and everything, and went through the whole spiel and everything. And I think everybody's reporting back that on December the 3rd, is that right, that we're going to the marketplace, and we're going to the marketplace with good ratings and everything, and here we go. And, we're going to ring the bell, and we're going to ring the bell with a premium to the tune of somewhere close to $100 million, and that's going to be free money to us, just free money. So with that, we'll take your questions, and we may need Bill Crouch, or we may need Dave, or our Senate President or somebody to help us with them, but we'll take your questions. Yes, sir.
The gist of this that I'm gathering is our numbers are starting to return to kind of what they were pre-Great Recession, 2008, 2009, before the housing market collapsed, which are good numbers. Exactly how do we keep from going, you're talking about digging out of a hole, how do we keep from putting ourselves in another hole? Obviously, the coal mining industry's got some issues right now. Our natural gas pipeline construction workers are gone right now while those cases are going through, and that was obviously a big part of our mining and construction workforce as well. So what are we doing? You've talked about some of it in regards to Senate Bill 1, Jobs and Hope, but what are we doing to keep this momentum going?
Well, Stephen, Steve, you can talk too, but let me just say this. Think about what you just said. You led off by saying our numbers are getting back to where they were, pre-recession and all the stuff that happened, with the world just falling all to pieces. And it wasn't a recession. I mean, it was almost a total meltdown of the whole financial system, But if you'll think about just this, you think about West Virginia, and West Virginia getting back to those historic employment numbers. And they were historic at that time. And the reason they were historic was just this, lots and lots of different things, but you had the coal market at that time just racing, beyond belief racing. And you had an employment that was unbelievable in lots and lots of different ways. You had natural gas just starting to come along and everything, but you had our coal thing that was just going crazy. Now, what if I were to say to you, we've gotten back to those historic numbers with coal being in the dumps? Well, for crying out loud, you would have to think, there's no way. There's no way you could have gotten back there. But we have. And we've gotten back there through legislation. We've gotten back there through new ideas. And we've gotten back there through a new West Virginia, a West Virginia that's not the dingy and dark and backward image that it's been in the past, a new West Virginia that is really the diamond in the rough that everybody's missed, a new West Virginia that's diversified in all kinds of things and looking to diversify more and more each and every day. A new West Virginia that's made a real commitment to education and to our roads and the standards of life that we have. So, all of these things are going to come to play. They're already at play, But what I would say to you is, if you were winning ball games in 2008 and you had LeBron James and Steph Curry and everything, and you decided, well, here we're back to winning like we were doing in 2008, but LeBron broke his back and Seth, broke both legs. We don't have the coal industry today. We still got it, but it's absolutely sputtering. We're back winning without our superstar. And so the net of the whole thing is we're winning because of legislation. We're winning because of taxation lowering. We're winning because of diversification. You're winning because of my relationship maybe with the president. You're winning today without our superstars. And so it's good.
Governor, are we diversifying enough the message we keep getting from Secretary Hardy and Mark Bucco and people in his office? The revenue numbers are down this year because of the volatility of the coal and natural gas industry, and that we're not bringing in the severance tax we were projecting. That suggests that maybe we haven't diversified the economy enough.
No, Mark, I think that's, I don't want to say ridiculous, but I think it is ridiculous. I think the point is the numbers are in the 90, I don't want to say 99 percentile, but it's deadgum close, and they're in a percentile that came into being, with a growth number. Now, there's all kinds of things. There's an incredible amount of money in Medicaid. It's a surplus that, that we don't need in Medicaid today. There's all kinds of different things, that are out there. But you are correct in the fact that severance taxes are lower today than what we projected them to be. But that's not driving. I mean, we've got all kinds of different things happening in West Virginia, but you don't transition away. I don't want us to do this. I want us to be proud that we're a natural resource state. Always be proud of our natural resources here, but we don't need to just throw them in the trash can. I mean, for crying out loud, we need to be proud of who we are, but absolutely, if we get back online, with the Supreme Court as far as our pipelines on natural gas or natural gas prices improve, we'll do better there. If we get, what we really want is the downstream petrochemical, manufacturing jobs. That's what we want to have happen and everything. That's the bottom line there. And from the coal standpoint, sure, we've backed up in the coal. I'm really worried about the thermal or the electricity making coals, but from the standpoint of our metallurgical coals, we ought to be all right. If we get a national infrastructure program, we'll be okay there.
I don't know if you saw Michael Bloomberg's campaign kickoff video last night, but he specifically said he's going to put $39 million specifically or maybe it's $1 billion, targeting the coal industry. Your response?
I hope Bloomberg loses. Bad.
Governor, why are these numbers not reflected in the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers, which show employment relatively flat, and also in our personal income tax collections, which are down from where they should be?
Okay, Dave, you got to come and answer to Dave. Somebody's got to come, Mark, Dave, and help me a little bit here. Steve can.
Phil, if I may, let me start by saying the numbers we're using are taken from Workforce West Virginia, which does use the federal data set. And the federal data set is generated from Washington. I'm not really one to call names or point fingers, but those are the civil service that some refer to as the deep state in Washington. Those are the people that are actually responsible for these numbers. So we think their numbers are correct. They are federally reported. They are the numbers that the West Virginia University Bureau of Economic Research uses and cites in its report. So when Workforce West Virginia gives us these numbers that come from federal data sets, we think those are the correct numbers to use. And as to personal income tax collections, I have the numbers right here in front of me. In 2014, personal income collection was $1.66 billion in West Virginia. In 2019, FY 2019, it came in at over $2 billion. So the trend has been up every year since 2014, with a little hiccup between 15 and 16, but minor. But clearly the trend is from, in 14 we had 1.66 billion, and we're seeing personal income tax collections as of the most recent fiscal year at about 2 billion. So they're up. And that's what the numbers show.
So explain to me Workforce West Virginia takes the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers, which for October were about 30,000 lower than the number here. How do they translate that and get this number?
I can't speak for Workforce West Virginia. All I can do is read their report that they make publicly available, and in reading their report, they report 663,000 jobs for October.
Given everything you're saying here, what are you going to specifically put on the table? I mean, we're, 6 weeks away from the legislature coming into sessions, 5 weeks. What specific requests or proposals or ideas are you going to put forth that you want Senator Carmichael and the folks to take care of upstairs?
Well, we're working on that. I'm not going to tell you what's coming and everything today, because that would just preempt a whole lot of things. But we're working on lots of stuff, and they're just a lot that we, Steve said it amply. It's Thanksgiving, and we should be thankful. Sure, I mean, things can be better. There's, Pam, where are you, Pam? Bring me my phone. I want to read to you something on my little flip phone. And, a minister said this yesterday, and a lady sent it to me. So just bear with me just 1 second. This lady said, I just heard these words in church, and I thought about your speeches. Think about these words. The goal is to keep moving towards progression, not perfection. And that's really what we're doing. We're moving towards progression, and we're moving that way. And I'm very proud that we're moving that way. Sure, we could maybe set our eyes on perfection, but there's only one that had perfection, and so we'll be happy with progression. Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Governor. Hey, Cindy.